Welcome back. Today's story is about a young woman who was raised by her grandparents, only to end up fighting her own family over the inheritance they left her. When her entitled aunt, who had been absent for years, suddenly demanded a share, she was forced to choose between guilt and standing her ground. What unfolded next is a roller coaster of betrayal, grief, and finally, empowerment. Am I the butthole for refusing to give my aunt the inheritance my late grandparents left me? I never, ever thought I'd be fighting my own family over what my dead grandparents left for me. But here we are. I, 25, female, feel like I'm living in some kind of twisted soap opera. And honestly, I still don't know how I let it get this far. Maybe I was naive. Maybe I just didn't want to believe that blood relatives could be so entitled. Or maybe I was just too soft, too trusting, and now I'm paying the price. Let me start from the beginning. I was raised by my grandparents for most of my childhood. My mom, well, she was in and out of my life, always chasing men, always chasing money, just never chasing me. My dad wasn't in the picture at all. He dipped when I was 2, so I don't even remember his face. But my grandparents, they were my whole world. They took me in when I was just 5. I remember showing up at their house with nothing but a garbage bag full of clothes and a worn-out teddy bear. They welcomed me like I was a gift, not a burden. They fed me, clothed me, helped me with homework, cheered me on at school plays. They were everything a child could ever ask for. My grandmother used to tell me, no matter what happens, we've got you. You'll always be safe here. I believed her. I trusted that love. And for most of my life, that love was the only constant I had. Now, here's where the story starts to twist. My aunt, let's call her A48, female, is my mom's older sister. She was never really involved in my life growing up. She was the type who only came around when she needed something: money, favors, validation, the kind of person who makes everything about herself. She had this air of superiority, like she was too good to be around family problems. You know the type, the one who vanishes when it's time to help, but suddenly shows up when there's something to gain. But despite everything, my grandparents were generous to a fault. They helped her out financially more times than I can count, paid for her car repairs, helped with rent when she was between jobs, even gave her money for her kids' school supplies when she was too overwhelmed to handle it. Fast forward to about a year ago. My grandfather passed away after a long battle with cancer. It was devastating. I had spent months helping to care for him, taking time off work, sleeping at the hospital, organizing appointments, all of it. I was there through everything. When he passed, I was the one holding his hand. He looked at me and said, "Take care of yourself, sweetheart. We've made sure you'll be okay." I didn't fully understand what he meant, not until the will was read. Both my grandparents had left me everything: the house, their savings, a small but decent investment account. It wasn't millions or anything, but it was enough to make a difference in my life. Enough to finally breathe, to pay off student loans, maybe buy a reliable car, and even, for once, think about the future without constant panic. I was shocked. I didn't expect to be left with everything. I thought there would be something for my aunt and my cousins, but when I talked to the lawyer, he explained that my grandparents had intentionally left everything to me. It wasn't an oversight, it was a choice. They had rewritten their will 2 years prior, after a particularly nasty fight with A, where she apparently accused them of favoring me. My grandmother told her point blank, "We're not obligated to give you anything. You've never been around, and you don't even treat us like family." So they left everything to me, the one person who had actually been there. And then the Kraken awoke. When A found out I got everything, she lost her mind. I'm talking full-blown screaming, crying, accusing me of manipulating two old people, saying I tricked them into cutting her out, and that I had brainwashed them for years. She even went as far as claiming I must have faked their signatures. Seriously, I could barely stand up from the grief, and she was accusing me of fraud. I didn't even want to argue. I was too emotionally drained. I told her they made their choice. I didn't ask for this. But that wasn't enough. She started calling me every day, sometimes several times a day. At first, it was yelling, then begging, then threats. "You'll regret this," she said more than once. "I'm your aunt. You owe me. Blood is blood." That phrase, blood is blood. I hate it now, because apparently, in her mind, it means I should just hand over my inheritance like a good little doormat. Because blood means obligation, but not love, not effort, not respect. Things really exploded when she came to the house. Yes, the house I now legally own. She showed up unannounced one morning, banged on the door until I opened it, and then literally tried to walk past me into my own living room like she belonged there. "I need to take a few things," she said. "Some of this stuff is mine." I told her no. She got angry, said she deserved at least the jewelry or the antique clock or something. "You already have the house and the money," she snapped. "You can't even share?" I told her to leave or I'd call the police. She looked at me with this disgusted expression, like I was the one being unreasonable. And then, get this, she tried to guilt me by bringing up her kids, said they were my cousins, my family, and I should think about their future too. Your grandparents would want all their grandchildren taken care of. Oh, now you care what they would have wanted? Where was that energy when they needed rides to the doctor? When they were struggling to buy groceries? When I was helping them bathe because they couldn't stand on their own? I didn't see her once during those months. Not one visit, not one phone call, nothing. But now, because there's money involved, now she suddenly remembers who they were. I told her she had to leave. She screamed at me, saying I was soulless, a snake, and that karma would catch up to me. And I'll be honest, part of me started to wonder, am I heartless? I didn't ask for this money. I didn't even want it at first. I just wanted them back. But then I think about all the nights I spent crying in that house while she was living her carefree life. I think about how she abandoned her own parents, how I became the caretaker, the emotional support, the errand runner, the nurse, the grief counselor, all while trying to live my own life. And now I'm the bad guy for not handing over the inheritance. My therapist said something that stuck with me. You're not greedy for accepting a gift that was given in love. And that's what this was, a gift from people who loved me and who knew what I went through, who saw the truth about their own daughter. It's been months now, and A is still trying to get her way. She's threatening legal action, even though the will is airtight. She's turned some of the extended family against me. People I haven't spoken to in years are now messaging me on Facebook, calling me selfish and cold-hearted. But you know what? I'm done explaining myself. I'm done feeling guilty for receiving something I never expected but genuinely earned through years of sacrifice, through pain, through unwavering love. And to A, if you're somehow reading this, you don't get to show up when the work is done and expect a reward. You don't get to abandon your parents and then demand their love in dollar signs. You don't get to guilt me into giving you what you didn't deserve, because I'm keeping it, all of it. The house, the savings, the investment account, every last cent. And not out of spite, but out of respect for the people who actually cared about me. So, am I the butthole for keeping what my grandparents left for me? Or is it finally okay for the caretaker, the silent daughter, the invisible family member to be seen? Because for once in my life, I'm not giving in. I'm not apologizing. And I'm not handing it over. That's all for today's story. And please don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button if you loved this story, and comment if you've ever been in a similar situation.